today we're going to run through our P6-Loader. It's our version 14, so it's just a focusing on what's the new features in this particular version. We released a version 13 not too long ago, but these features were reasonably significant, so we've made it version 14. So Sue is joining us from Wyoming, and she's going to do the heavy lifting. I am Nicole Jardin, and I'm joining you from Montreal today. And our lead programmer is Ravi, and he's in Brazil. Okay, so a bit of a wide variety of locations. So let's run through some of the new features that we added in this version. So we added some user permissions just so that our clients, they were sometimes a bit afraid to deploy P6-Loader to some of the team because there's some features they thought were a little bit more advanced. So we've added some user permissions. Also, the big feature that we've added is being able to deal with multiple resource assignments. So some of you may not have that. It's not that many of our clients that needed that feature, but you can have the same resource assigned more than once in an activity. So P6-Loader needed some special programming to handle that better. So we're going to run through that and how you would deal with that if you've got that situation. And then the other big piece that we added, well, I guess the other two are fairly big, but the other big piece from a day-to-day usability is when you load a file, so when you upload records, what do you want it to do with the records? So we've got better user controls in there now. So it just makes it easier for you to control what's happening. So you don't have a oops moment and go, that's not what I wanted it to do. So you're going to see that. Sue's going to show you some examples. And we've got the layout. In the last version, we added a lot of features on how you can back up your layouts. We didn't automate it. So in this version, we've added the ability to automate the layout backups. Okay, so Sue, again, will show you that in detail. So those are the main additions in this particular version. If you're interested to understand more of everything we have in P6-Loader, then reach out to us and we can run through that in more detail. So Sue, I will hand it over to you and you can start to actually show these different features in action.
Okay. So share my screen. Okay. So the first feature that I'm going to touch on is, oh, helps if I get the right thing up here too, is the loading of the duplicate resources. So I have a file here, a project that has, we're going to concentrate on these two activities at the top here. They have duplicate resources on them. And you can see that we've added this UDF, user-defined field, so that we can make them unique if there are duplicates on your activity. If you don't make it have a unique value, so to speak, P6-Loader doesn't know where to land it. So we added this additional unique ID here for resource assignments. And you can see now that there's nothing in there. Now, the way that they're populated is they're populated automatically with P6-Loader. So if I go to P6-Loader and I log in, what I've done is I actually have a definition that I have set up. So you're able to set up specific pieces of what you want to extract, and then you can use them over and over again. Now, for those of you who are new to P6-Loader, this is just one piece that we can do. So you can see we have user information that we can work with P6-Loader. So all of your global and project profiles, your user and their permissions, what OBS or responsible manager is assigned to them, and what type of resource access they have. We also can handle a number of global items, quite a few actually. I think that we handle about 99% of the information in P6. So we have all these options that you can actually deal with when you're working with P6-Loader. We also have several utilities that are quite nice in keeping your database clean, finding out where your data is being used, where it's not used, things like that. But for our case, we're going to be dealing with the resource assignment sheet. So what I've done is we also have the option that when you pull out an extraction, there is a whole bunch of information that can be pulled out that relates, in this case, to resource assignments. However, I just want to pull out a few of them so that I can just work with those pieces. I can also choose to pull out user-defined fields, pick and choose those. So I'm only taking out that RA unique ID. And then any codes that you would like to include, you can do that as well. But I don't need to work with those, so I'm not going to keep those in my sheet when it's pulled out. Now on the right-hand side here, this is where we have our EPS node, or EPS and projects, so we can work with projects themselves in your database. So I am pulling out the resource assignment sheet for the project I just showed you. Now, once I have everything set, I can put extract in here, and that's going to go out and it's going to pull a spreadsheet for me in a P6-Loader format. And I simply need to download it, and it will come out and eventually come in to my Excel. There we go. And so now I've just got the pieces that I want to deal with. Now you can see on those first couple that I was working with, I have, and why am I not being able to click in here? I'm having trouble with my mouse. I apologize. Excuse me. There we go. So these first few that I've pulled out, those are the ones that I showed you. And I didn't have that unique ID when I pulled it out. But now that I have, it is assigned that number in the order that that resource was added onto my activity. So if I were to go back to P6 now, and I were to refresh my data, that's going to now pull in those unique IDs that were assigned to my activities. So you can see here that now I have those assigned. Now, another thing is that you can edit these if you'd like with P6-Loader. You can add new. You can do a number of things. So I've actually prepared a load that highlights that. So I essentially just narrowed it down to those ones that we were looking at, okay? But I am going to add in a new resource that is a duplicate of another resource on the same activity. So I can add that in. And for those who have not worked with P6-Loader, I've left a blank line between that one and the ones that I actually pulled out. What that does is it tells P6-Loader to stop at that blank line, and it does not load the rest of the rows here. So I'm going to just load up that duplicate resource, and I'm going to assign an ID of 100 on it. So once you have your file prepared, you are ready to upload it. So you can go to the upload area, and you can select the file. and then simply tell it to upload. It's going to go out. It's going to show you it's working. And when it's done, it's going to say it was completed successfully. Then you can go back into P6. And when I refresh, I added it to this first activity here on my window. And you can see that I've also got my new resource in there as well. And it does have that unique ID. So if I wanted to change this 1 and 2 to, 200, 300, I could certainly do that. I would just need to put that in my sheet and it would go out and it would change that for me. Now, another thing, as long as we're talking about the type of loads and things you can do, I want to touch on also the enhanced security that we have. Yes. Yes.
I think your audio is cutting in and out a little bit. I don't know if it's just on my side. Ravi, were you?
It was cutting out. It was cutting out for me too a bit.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what got missed? Anything?
I think people probably could understand it, but I'm not sure if you're speaking too quickly or if it's internet. So just want you to be aware.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So I went ahead and I loaded that, and it did add that new activity, and put that number in that I wanted to have in there. So it makes it a lot easier to work with duplicate resources on your projects if you do assign the same resource to an activity. So that was something that we had several of our clients who were trying to do that, and it just makes it a lot easier. P6-Loader automates a lot of what you're needing for those, especially assigning those unique numbers. Now, in the way of our new enhanced security for P6-Loader, if I go in and I go to manage my users, now every user in P6 is eligible to work with P6-Loader, but you might not want to have everyone, number one, have access to it. And number two, maybe you don't want them to be able to see certain things when they're out there. So to give them access to P6-Loader, they need to have an authorized check mark on their user. That's going to allow them to log into P6-Loader, and it's going to allow them to work with the data in there. Now, we have the option of all tasks. What all tasks is when you are looking at the task menu, which is kind of in the background of this window here, if this is not checked, you're only going to see your loads that are, or your things that you are dealing with in P6-Loader. Now, if you can have this all tasks checkmarked, that means that the user could see everyone's loads and extractions that they are doing out there. Sometimes that's helpful if you're wanting to see, maybe there's someone who's working on maybe the same project or something like that, to see what they're doing in there to make sure that maybe you're not colliding or something of that nature. We also have this option for automation. Now, automation is where you would back up your database and the new piece that we just added, our layouts as well. Now, the automated backup allows you to back up your projects in either an XML format or so you could do both, a P6-Loader format. It also can back up your global information that you have out in your database. And like I said, we also have added that layout feature that you can automatically back up your layouts. Now, again, layouts, if there's no need for somebody to mess with layouts or to work with layouts, they don't need this, but you might want to check mark it if they are dealing with layouts. And then finally, you can designate them as a super user. that means that they can see and do everything in P6-Loader. Touch all the modules, touch all the options that we have out there. And then they can also add new users and give them their rights as well. We also have the option to put a user into a team. So if you have a particular team that is working on a certain project and you want to be able to share definitions like I showed you between team members, you can save it to that team and only that team will be able to see it. Other options for saving those definitions are you can save them just for yourself, or you can save them globally if you have that super user status as well. So just a few little enhancements on managing your users out here with P6-Loader. So the next piece that I want to talk about is the record action file, or the record action column. So we had the need from one of our clients to be able to pick and choose what they expect to happen with a particular load when it is when it's uploaded, basically. So I'm just using those same activities that I used prior in my in the resource example. This time, I'm going to put items in the record action column. So I can do an insert and expect that I have I'm going to insert a new line, a new record into my database with that particular row. However, in this second area, the second one here, I'm doing that with a brand new resource assignment. Now, on this second line here, the second row, I'm putting that I want to insert this. However, I'm not.
No,
Sue,
the audio.
It already has a record out there that has the unique ID of 2 and the resource ID of TAPS dash.
No, we lost you.
No. Okay. So, did you get the adding of the resource?
No, I don't think so.
So, okay. So, on this one, I'm going to add a resource, and I'm expecting to insert that record. That's going to be a brand new record. So, I've put insert in the record action column. Now, on this second line, I've changed the information for my planned units to 160. But in my record action column, I have actually said that I'm expecting to insert that line. So it's expecting to have a brand new resource ID as well as a unique ID to go along with it. However, this exists already out there. So I'll show you what happens when you try to say you're going to insert it and it's already there. Now, if I don't put anything on that line, such as my row 1, I am going to change the planned units. And because I didn't put an insert or an update on here, it's going to update it for me. It's going to take it just like it doesn't have the record action field in there or record action row. So when I load this, we're going to see that I'm going to get a message. So let me just go and get that and upload it. So after it gets done uploading, it's going to say it completed, but I have warnings. So if I go into my details area right here, I can see that in my warning, it said on row 2, it needed the action to be update, but it was configured as being insert. So it didn't do that particular row. It didn't do anything with it because it was expecting to see update on there to update that those units. But since I put insert, it didn't do anything with that. But it's going to warn you. It's going to tell you, hey, you need to look at this and make sure that it's not, you didn't mean to put update on there. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to refresh my data again. So when I refresh my data, I'm going to be able to see that I do have my new resource that I added with that insert. On my second row, it did not change my remaining units or my budgeted units here. It kept it because it was expecting to see update instead of insert. So it just ignored it. It didn't do it. But on the second one, or on the first line, it did go ahead and change my budgeted units to 200. So if you don't put anything in that record action field, it's going to go ahead and do whatever that line is doing. If it's an insert, it will insert the new record. If it is an update, it will update whatever information you need to update on there. It just gives you a more granular level of control when you are loading in your P6-Loader sheets there. Now, another thing that I alluded to previously, as well as Nicole, is that when we automate our backup, that's down here in our automate area, and I can go out to my databases and I can see that I've got 2 set up to run backups. And if I go into my demo database, we now have a new option here that I can also back up my layouts and my filters, my global changes, as well as my reports. So this line is new. This whole daily layout backups is new. So you can back those up. We had a lot of clients who were exporting their layouts individually out so that in case something happened to the layout, they had a good copy of it out somewhere that they could import back in. Now, P6-Loader will allow you to back those up automatically when you're backing up your database here as well. So what that looks like once it's backed up is you get a file, and that's in my jobs here. So you'll get a download file, and I don't think I have it turned on this other one. And I did this last time, and it takes a little while to download the zip file. But essentially, the zip file is going to contain all of your projects that you wanted to have backed up in the format that you have requested they get backed up in. It will have the layouts, the filters, etc., that you can also back up. And it's all going to be all in that zip file. So it looks like it didn't come up for me. So I'm going to go ahead and...
It did, so it did pop up.
It did? Okay, let me go here and see if I can...
You're just turning off again. It's downloading it now in there.
There we go. Okay. So in my zip file, I've got several projects that I have set to come out as an Excel file, and that P6-Loader in the P6-Loader format. I have my global data. Oh, did you lose me again?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Let me say it, Sue. Yeah. So she's showing you that. No. Yeah, there's a huge delay too.
Okay, I am not able to hear.
Let me just say it. Let me say it, Sue.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So what she's showing you is she's chosen to take out each of the projects into an Excel file, which is a P6-Loader file.
I can't hear you.
She's also got those files, the ones that look like it's a Bing or whatever that symbol is. Those are layouts. And we've got layouts as well. So sorry, those are XMLs, which is another format you can take the file out.
Right.
And there's also a layout extraction as well. Yeah, you want to pop it open? Perfect. She's popping it open, so then you can see all the layouts. that she's pulled out. So it's taking all the layouts. It'll take the project layouts, the user layouts, and the global layouts. It'll take all of them. Okay.
Okay. Am I caught up now?
I think so. We'll see. It does seem to be there's some sort of delay there going on. So.
Okay. All right. So another feature that we have added is that we had a couple of companies that wanted to be able to just see their resource shifts and work with them. So I'm going to go ahead and clear everything off of. No, I'm going to keep this one. No, I'm going to take this off. There we go. Okay. So we now have the option to, it's in roles and resources. We can now pull out our shift and our shift periods. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And when I open this file up, what it's going to give me is two sheets. One is going to be my shifts and their names. You could change these if you want to with P6-Loader. And secondly, we have the shift periods. So we have, your start hours for all of your shifts and how they are defined. Now, this is informational only on the shift name and the start hours. But if you are extracting or converting a P6 XCR or XML file, these were not coming in with those files when you converted it to a P6-Loader file. Now we have the ability to actually convert those as well, and you will be able to see the shifts and how they're defined on those extractions of those XCR and XML files into P6-Loader formats. So this was another thing that we have added in as well. And finally, we've made it more intuitive as to what value you put in when you want to remove data from a certain field, I guess. So again, I'm going to go and I'm going to extract. I'm going to take this off. And actually, I have a definition that I've set up for this that's going to just pull the fields I want so that you can see how I can do that. Now I need to change my project because I have a different project for this. Wow, I do have a big lag. Something's going on with my internet. And in this example, I have a file that has some user-defined fields.
Okay, well, I think we might be losing our audio, but the clearing here.
Both activities and also, can you hear me? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
go ahead,
so I'm
Sue.
going to
Go
remove
ahead.
those comments as well as the work order.
Yeah,
okay.
We can hear you.
As well as the work orders on these two. So this is just going to show you how you can clear the data out of there and make it a blank, basically. So I'm going to go. Okay.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, something definitely not going good with her internet. Sorry, Sue. Let me try and explain it. So sometimes you have a lot of data. No, Sue.
We're going to clear the work order
so
as well.
What we're trying to do is we're trying to allow you to clear fields. Okay. If you have big, huge, long lists, you might want to clear them in P6, but sometimes it's not that easy, and it's easier to clear it in Excel and then load it back up. So she's going to show you pulling the data out and then clearing it, how you clear it from P6-Loader.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so she's just popping it open, and then we're going to take a look at the field she wants to clear. So it's those user-defined fields, I believe, is what she's going to do. So what else can we do, Ravi? Can we clear codes? Can we clear?
You can clear codes, you can clear UDFs, it accepts the new values.
Okay, which is that's a code.
Yeah, okay. You can clear that. You can clear them all. Also, the values that you can enter there. Clear is a value that we're using universally now across all of those columns. But you can also enter custom values if for any reason you have them. It's configurable.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So that way, because if you clear the cell, if you just put a blank field in Excel, it won't load that. It just sees that as nothing that it needs to load, nothing that it needs to action. So she's showing you that you can clear the UDF. You can clear the project code. And so she makes the edits here. She saves the file, and then she can reload it, and then using P6-Loader, and it'll go and empty out the cell. All right. So I think she can walk through the steps, and then you'll see it land in P6. So she can just refresh. So you always refresh after you've done a load, and then you should see the field, in this case, empty out. So it won't say the word clear. It should empty out is what we're expecting to see. Okay, so that's the user-defined field as well as the code. Okay, so this becomes valuable in not only just emptying it out. You could have that if you're doing bulk loads of data from other systems. So we have clients who use it for integration. So you can use, this gives you more flexibility on the way you can manage it. All righty. Was that the last piece, Sue? Yeah. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. So I don't see any questions at this moment. So I'll just close up and wrap up. Oops. All right, great. Thanks, Sue, for showing those new features. So again, those were things that we added, Ravi, in the last 3 months at most? Yeah. So yeah, we added quite a few new features in the last six months. So we made a lot of changes to the software. Improvements, more things that people need it, clients want it, and so we've just added them. All right. There's just one slide that was missing in this deck, so I just wanted to share it. Let me see how to do this. So let me just show one PowerPoint so you can see. So Sue was saying, you know, we hit 99% of the data. So this gives you an idea of all the things that we do in P6-Loader. All sorts of global data, and action column controls is a new feature we added in the resources and roles. You know, we do all the dictionaries, all the codes, the rates, the resources themselves, the assignments, and you can do that in bucket planning and financial planning as well. Now, at the project level, we just added on version 13, we added this. So WBS template fragment loader. So that's really incredibly powerful. It lets you grab a fragment, which is a portion of a project or a whole project, to create templates and work orders, things of that nature. And then, as you saw in our utility, we've added the layouts, but we already have all sorts of utilities here with roll downs, job services to run backups, as Sue showed you, XCR converters, etc. Okay, so we have a lot of smarts. So this goes well beyond the importing and exporting that you get out of the box in P6. And then finally, at the activity level, okay, we do all the activity data, the logic, expenses, notebooks, feedback, steps, documents. We have usage information, codes, UDFs, etc. Okay, so I just wanted to share that because, again, we've added a lot of new features in the last few months. Okay. All right. Well, we wanted to thank you for joining us. If you're already using P6-Loader, let us know if your team is ready for an upgrade. We can get that deployed. And if you haven't got P6-Loader, just reach out and let us know if you want to see more, explore how it might be useful for your particular organization and how you could benefit from it. All right, so I'll stop the recording here.